Hey guys, Jacob Wimps here, C.w. Architects in Nashville. Today we're going over 3 non-negotiable points for your home design. Over the years we've done hundreds of projects and worked with hundreds of clients, and these are the 3 major factors that you're going to want to make sure that you've got on your radar for your home design. These 3 factors are non-negotiable, and you're going to regret it if you don't incorporate these into your home design. It's going to be something that you're going to miss out on over decades. This isn't about style. This isn't about conforming to a specific look. It's about you and customizing a home that's truly about you, your lifestyle, and your site. How do you achieve a timeless design? Well, there are 2 major factors in achieving a timeless design, and the first one is context. And what I mean by context is the site. You've got a specific site that you've bought, and you've bought it for very specific reasons. Maybe it's a view, maybe it's a creek, maybe it's at an edge of a forest, maybe it's close to home. Whatever it is, you want to make sure that your home design is focused on that specific site. So a good example of this is I have an existing home where we're designing at the edge of a tree line. And if you think about a tree line, it is very private. Now it sits at the edge of a tree line because it's focused on the view. And at the edge of that tree line is this large meadow. So what I mean by designing your home specifically for the context, in this specific example, we placed the major spaces or the living, dining, kitchen spaces at the edge of the forest that have a clear open view of that field or that meadow, where the master suite and some of the bedrooms and the bathrooms, they're more private spaces, are really focused on the woods. It's a perfect way to create this juxtaposition between spaces that are private and spaces that are open. Now, when it comes to your specific site, it may not be at the edge of a tree line, but you always want to be thinking about privacy and view, or privacy and connection. So let's say you've got some noisy neighbors. Maybe you want to build a pretty large concrete wall or a brick wall, something that's really solid that separates your house from your neighbor's house. Whatever the situation is, doesn't really matter. The main thing you should be focused here is timelessness and creating something that is for the context. The second factor you want to focus on when it comes to timeless design is just simply connecting with nature. So this is very similar to the context, but when it comes to connecting with nature, we are animals. A lot of times people distinguish between what's man-made and what's natural. The reality is everybody likes nature. There's research out there that has shown that connecting with nature actually improves physical and mental health. And when it comes to timelessness, health is always going to be at the forefront of everybody's mind, no matter what. Keeping in mind context, keeping in mind nature and health, picking natural materials, making connections indoor and outdoor are going to be things that span generations. An example of connecting indoor with outdoor or connecting with nature could be in the materials you use. So maybe you're using more natural woods, maybe you're using slate tile, stuff that actually feels natural, has a lot of texture to it. Things that have a lot of texture are going to, of course, feel more natural. These materials are not going to go out of style because they have that natural influence. One of the most asked for features that we see in all of our home designs is connecting indoor and outdoor space. So connecting with nature, but through maybe a nano wall. So a wall that can fold, a big glass wall that can actually fold up out of the way and connect, let's say, a living space to a pool area. These kind of things, again, are going to instill timelessness in the design because you're going to be connecting with the outdoors, you're going to be connecting with nature, and you're going to be connecting with your site. So context is the big factor here. So the next major point is creating something that's future-proof or aging in place. Aging in place is a big deal, especially for your forever home. But this is a forever home. It's your dream home now, it's your forever home later. It's something that's going to create memories and last not only in your lifetime, but hopefully for generations to come. Once again, there are 2 major factors that we're talking about here when it comes to aging in place and designing for the future. And the first one's pretty obvious. In case you have mobility issues down the road, you want to make sure you're designing hallways wide enough, doorways wide enough. Maybe you're putting framing inside the wall for future grab bars. All those things are implemented on a daily basis in forever homes across the nation. And those are things that you definitely want to be keeping in mind. Aside from the more pragmatic things on mobility, we also want to talk about longevity. and we want to talk about the maintenance of materials. So the second factor that comes into play when it comes to making something that's going to be future-proof is making sure you're picking materials that are going to last. You want to stay away from things like painted brick, because even though it's brick and it's known to be maintenance-free, once you paint it, it becomes a maintenance issue. Instead of painting your brick, you may consider staining your brick. Stained brick actually holds the texture, what we were just talking about when it comes to natural materials. It holds the texture, it creates the color that you want, and it lasts way longer than painted brick. Other materials that you might consider are things like stone or things like synthetic wood. Now, wood is one of those natural materials, but when you're placing it outside, it can tarnish, and it often does. Wood and rain don't usually mix, so picking something that feels natural, like a synthetic material that actually has the feeling of wood, but also withstands the test of time, is going to be something important. Now, you probably are going to be dropping a little bit more money when it comes to those exterior finish materials, but again, think about how much time and money you'll save by not having to rebuild or repaint your finished materials. The final non-negotiable here is focusing in on your lifestyle. Again, we're designing a home specific to you and how you live your life. In order to focus in on your lifestyle, you really have to hone in on what we call program. Now, program in very simple terms is, let's say, the number of bedrooms and bathrooms, but we really need to get specific here. What's it like when you come home? Where do the backpacks go? Where does the groceries come into the house? You want to focus in on those special moments like that view or that morning coffee as the sun's rising, but you also want to focus in on the more mundane things. It's going to be specific to who you are and how you live. The other thing that you need to consider when it comes to lifestyle focus is being very intentional about these things. Intentional design instills free luxury. For example, it doesn't cost any more money to have that wood floor point to the view as it does to have it point in the opposite direction. But when it points towards the view, it starts to focus your eye and it instills automatically luxury in that home. We've even sat down with a client who enjoys waking up with the morning sun and placed a skylight directly above her bed. Now, that may not be for everybody, but again, we're designing something specific for that person, their lifestyle, and who they are. This is something that you're not going to find online in a set of drawings. Keeping these three major factors at the forefront of your mind when you're creating your home design is going to prevent you from missing opportunities. A big thing that I see clients doing is while we're trying to figure out where the living room goes or where the primary suite goes, they're focused in on what kind of stove they want or what kind of lighting they want. But it's important to zoom out and start broad and work into detail. We'll get to those specific details and those specific factors, but you want to make sure that the holistic design is taken care of before you start zooming in on the other layers of information. This is the foundation to the design itself. If you're ready to start your journey in creating your own custom dream home, go to our contact page and fill out the form. We'll be taking the first step in creating a home that's going to last forever.